Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museums will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back.
MisFitNation. The MisFitNation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back
to the Misfit Nation show. It's our Thursday after dinner show. We got a good one tonight. I know a lot of you are going through a lot of emotions after Tuesday night, but remember, we're all one country. We're all one family. Let's come out of this and move forward and do the things we're supposed to, get in our communities and clean up our communities and make things the right way. That's the only way our country will stay great and be the way we need it to be and the way we all want it to be, just in different terms. Well, we did not make it 2 days without losing an officer, police officer Evan Dunn of the Golden Police Department in Colorado, and to watch Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. Let's keep his family, his friends, his peers, and all those who cared about him in your thoughts and prayers, and all police officers and first responders. Make sure we think about them daily as they go out and protect our streets and protect you from all harm's way. Tonight, we have a great guest. She's a very busy guest. She has been featured in over 200 episodes of TV, thousands of weekly radio shows. She has a best-selling book in 3 languages, internationally patented invention, GirlyGoGarter. And she's a spokesman, a QVC guest host, beauty and style expert, wife, bonus mom, and carbon farmer. So without further ado, let's welcome Andy Paige to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that amazing introduction. And not to mention, I mean, the introduction to your show is pretty impressive. I like how you open things up. There's a lot for us to be prayerful about and be happy about, and it's true. The more kind we can be to each other and think of each other as one, the better off we'll all be.
Definitely. That's the way we kind of try to think here on the Misfit Nation. Hopefully we can affect one person. That one person can make that domino effect and make us all think the same, or not the same, but think in the same light of making things better.
Yeah. Awesome. So
Andy, I gave a 2-sentence introduction about you, and I kind of fumbled through because a lot of big words in there, but if you don't mind, tell us a little more about you, from as far back as you want to go to how we got here.
Oh, well, yeah. So I am here because I currently play the role of Pearl on ABC's General Hospital. So I am very excited that I'm doing something experimental within the General Hospital landscape. And so we're trying to get the word out. So I have been doing a podcast tour, which has brought me to meet amazing people just like yourself. So we'll talk about that a little more. But, this is my very first acting role, just so you know. I mean, I'm 54 years old. Yeah, I'm 54. I've never acted before. All of my television work has actually been in reality TV, whether that's General Hospital, or some of your listeners may know a few of my shows. I was a lead player on a show called Starting Over for years, which was about women specifically starting over their life, and I was a beauty and style expert on that show. I had my own show called Sense of Style. I've worked in shows at 10 years younger and How Do I Look, and so I was kind of a part of the makeover culture, if you will, in the 2000s. And that's very reality based, but it was producers from that time in my life that remembered me for this very specific role that I'm playing on General Hospital. So, I mean, that's one of the things that I'd like to talk about. But I am just a girl from Alabama, so I am just I come from a really small town called Chickasaw. My grandparents and my great grandparents really influenced my upbringing to a huge extent. I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out of high school at 17 and moved to New York City with, God on both my shoulders and the wind at my back and $300 in my pocket. And just with the belief that if I kept my nose clean and did what, God wanted me to do, that I would have the big life that I dreamed of. And I'm really grateful to say that things just keep getting bigger. I want to live to be 100 and see where else God takes me.
Outstanding. Has anyone in your family made it to 100?
My grandmother, who I just talked to today, is 98. And if she were to, peek into this shot, you would see that she has red hair and purple glasses and lipstick.
Oh my God. At 98, that's outstanding and full of life, obviously. So that's amazing to have that in your life, and the goal for you to keep pushing forward and know that you can attain that as well.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. I think we should all, plan to live a long and full life. I hope, I talk to people who are like, oh, I don't want to live to be 100. And I'm like, yeah, I think you should try. You just never know. I mean, I stay so curious. And so I'm always just astounded by, how things develop and what's new and different. And so I want to be around to see it all.
Do you ever regret dropping out of high school, or was that just something that another part of your life, like a chapter in your life that you just closed that book on that and went to your next chapter?
No, I don't regret dropping out of high school, but you should know I very quickly got my GED, and I now have a double master's in media studies and broadcast journalism. But what dropping out of high school did for me is it just allowed me to get my life started and to get going, because I just felt very weighed down by circumstances and just the people around me, and I just felt like if I could just get out and kind of be on my own and take advantage of some of these opportunities, that I just felt like, that's what I should do. I did very well on my GED. I'm not a dummy. So I got my GED without a problem, and got into school very quickly. So that wasn't a problem either. Of course, my agent at the time, I moved to New York to be a model. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm so grateful God made me tall. I was 5'11" by the time I was 10 years old, Rich.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 5'11" in the 5th grade. And the truth is, if God had not made me tall, then I'd probably just be the best checker at the Piggly Wiggly, or I'd be rocking it out as a postmaster. I mean, life would probably still be just as fun, but I, did have these big dreams and these opportunities. So I'm very grateful that I was just like, yeah, let's do it. And I just took a path. But I've also been one of those people, I don't believe that there's a formula to life. Like there hasn't been a formula to my life, and what is supposed to be and what people say should be is not really anything that I've ever followed. So I just walk in with a really deep faith and belief. And so like I said, I'm 54 and I've started acting.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. So you just never know. So my life is not a straight line. It is, lots of crooked and fun ups and downs. And yeah, it's a great roller coaster.
I think that's a great way to live. You live to live. You're not living to wait for that end of life scenario. You're living to find that next thing and do the best things you can do. And you're always excelling, and you're moving forward and finding new, and like now testing new waters, acting on one of the longest running television show in ABC history, in his show history, actually, General Hospital. So
not just ABC history. It's the longest running show. I love it. And I'm going to tell your listeners, I'm totally going to reveal that your dad watches every day. Because I love that. I love that your dad watches every day. What's his name?
Tom LaMonica, the Torch.
Tom, the Torch. I am so proud of you, and I hope I'm not, revealing any big secrets. But I just did this huge. I've had the opportunity to do 2 fan events this year, and the fan events are unbelievable because this is a legacy show that has been a part of people's lives for generations. It was not uncommon for me to meet a grandmother, a daughter, and a granddaughter at these events, and they would all 3 come up for autographs or discussion or whatever. And I myself started watching General Hospital, with my great grandmother in the 70s. So it's just one of those shows that if you follow the storyline, you follow the storyline. There's still 2 to 3 million people who watch General Hospital every single day.
Tom the Torch is one of them. So he's a loyal listener. Watcher.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, there's a lot of changes that is happening. And do you mind if I talk to you a little bit about that?
Talk to us. Tell us about the set. Tell them life on the set and the storyline, I guess.
Yeah, well, I will. So did you read that my co-star is Morgan Fairchild?
I did not see that. No.
Yeah. So imagine, right? This is my very first acting gig.
You got a superstar.
And my co-star is Morgan Fairchild. I mean, it's so unbelievable. So the way that, the whole reason that I am a part of the show now is I am actually a character. My name is Pearl on the show, and I am a guest host on the fictional home shopping network called Home and Heart. And and Morgan Fairchild, who plays Haven de Haviland, she is the lead host on the show. So that's a part of the storyline. But, before I get into that, let me just tell you that, we are all watching television in different ways. I'm sure Tom the Torch is probably still watching on network, but which is great. I encourage you to do that. But for many of us, we stream shows and we do everything that we can to avoid the ads, right? Yes. But I mean, Rich, I got to tell you, they call it a soap opera for a reason, and that is because soap paid for it. So as things are changing, we've got to figure out how, a legacy show like this, then this can survive. So how it was pitched to me to be a part of the show is, I was posed the question, what if you could have, purchased Fonzie's jacket? Or what if you could have ultimately, known about, Phoebe and Monica and Rachel's hair care products? Or, what if I could have bought something from the set of Sex and the City? And so I was posed this because what we are doing is we are bringing items, products, jewelry to life, making them real and offering them for sale on shophomeandheart.com. And so let me just back up just a second. So one of the storylines that I know Tom will know is the storyline of Deception Beauty. And Deception Beauty is this fictitious cosmetic company that's run by these gorgeous women. And the fans have been able to watch Deception create all of these products over the past 20 years and stories. They've created the Deception, red light therapy wand, and they've watched that patent process and packaging, and they've created lipsticks and potions and lotions and all of it. And the fans for years were like, why can't Deception Beauty be real? We would love that. And so again, as advertisers and advertising has changed, the idea was posed, what if we started to create some of the things that in real life that we have had in our storyline? And so when a Deception Beauty product is ready to be launched to the world, it is fictitiously brought to Home and Heart, where I am the host and I explain the product within the storyline. And then you go to shophomeandheart.com and it is available for sale. And so it's not just cosmetics, it's handbags and jewelry and all the things. But I do think that if this experiment works, Rich, it's going to change the way we all watch TV, because everything within a television show is going to be a consumable that will be probably available within a coordinating website. So you can buy anything that you see on the wall or anything anyone's wearing. It's really going to change things.
So it's going to be almost like having a home shopping club or QVC right in the middle of a drama or a soap opera.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, and I believe that new shows will be built in this way, so that everything on the set, whether it's, a clock on the wall or anything, everything on the set will be thought of as a consumable.
So I think the earliest characters I remember from General Hospital are Luke and Laura. I think everyone remembers.
Of course.
Because, it was famous. Last time I was up with my dad sitting there, I thought I was seeing things, and it was Stephen A. Smith on the set. I was like, there's no way Stephen A. Smith from ESPN is on General Hospital. But he was. And is he still there?
Yes. You cannot believe the people who've been on General Hospital. I mean, Elizabeth Taylor had a role on General Hospital. It's really just amazing. There are so many actors who have had cameos, who have had a spot. I mean, this show, like I said, it's a legacy show. And if you were to list all of the people that either launched their careers, came back and revived their careers, made cameos, it is unbelievable, the people who have been a part of the show.
I'm sure.
But Luke and Laura, so just so you know, Luke and Laura, I mean, that one episode is still in like the top 5 most watched, television programs of all time. Ever. Yeah.
There was no way you could get around knowing about that. Like I told you, my mom would make us watch soap operas as punishment when we faked being sick from school, because she had to sit home with us. So it was our punishment to watch it, because we weren't going to lay in bed. You had to sit there and do something. And that was our punishment. So I knew about Luke and Laura, and that just flashed into my head when you were talking. I said, it has to be real.
Oh yeah, it is. And again, people still talk about Luke and Laura. I mean, again, at that fan event, if you were to interview one of them and they talk about, what the show General Hospital has meant to them and their most memorable moments, over half of them still talk about Luke and Laura. It was just that kismet moment for so many people. People can almost remember where they were while they were watching. It's not quite, the Kennedy assassination or 9/11, but it's up there.
Or that the Dallas episode of Who Shot JR or whatever. It's like people know that like the back of their hand. Same thing with this. It's kind of crazy that you can remember little spots in your life like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you can imagine how amazing it's been for me to be a part of this. And, soap operas are not like anything else in television. Let me just tell you. So my first day on the set, Rich, I was in scene 47 and 49 of the day.
Oh, wow.
The day. Yeah.
Wow.
They go through anywhere from 50 to 60 scenes a day. They film in 2 blocks, starting at 5 a.m. and going to noon, and then 1 o'clock going to 8. And they create 250 hours of television a year. It is baptism by fire, and it is banana cakes.
How was it that first day walking on the set after you knew you got the role? You're walking in. How was that?
It was so great. I mean, it was just so awesome. They have like my name on my little dressing room, and everybody was so nice. But the other thing that you have to know about a show like this is because they are getting through so much dialogue. I was literally told that you need to know your lines, you need to know your cues, and you are going to get 1 recorded practice and 1 recorded take. And you want to do everything in your power that you do not have to do the dreaded 3rd take. And you have to know, like last Wednesday, literally, I had to do the dreaded 3rd take. And it is literally like E.F. Hutton Speaks. Like when you flub and you've got to do the 3rd take, everyone's just like, oh. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. They're moving fast. They're moving fast. And they are expecting you to hit those lines and know exactly what you're doing.
And since you were on, you said the 47th and 49th take of the day or scene of the day.
Scene of the day, yeah.
So did you have to be there at 5 a.m. to watch the first 46, or is there a time they tell you to show up?
No, that was my very first day. So last week, I've been doing it. And actually last week, I was the very first scene of the day, which is another thing that, there's a part of me that's like, I'm still asleep, you guys.
Don't make mistakes.
Yeah, I'm asleep in the makeup chair. I'm still asleep. But, the last scene of the day is one thing, but being the first scene of the day, that's also hard. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I did my best. I did have to do a 3rd take, but everybody forgave me, I hope. We'll see. If I'm never heard from again, you and all your listeners will know why.
We'll be the first ones that knew.
That's right.
Do you see yourself on the show for a long period, or you think that character is going to kind of get pushed away?
I'm honestly not sure. Again, as I mentioned, this is a very big experiment. So this gives the fans an opportunity to both participate in the show in a very unique way and, take part in these products that they have watched be developed within the character and within the storyline. And in many ways, it's also, another avenue for advertising and revenue for the show. So not only are you, participating, but you're kind of supporting the show in a way that you might not have thought was necessary. So it is true that, someone has to pay for television. And if it's not advertisers, it's got to be done some way. So it really depends on if this experiment works. I honestly think it will work, which I hope it does, because that will, hopefully ensure my longevity with the show. But I have been made aware that it is an experiment. But so far, it's been going really well.
Outstanding. And you also have a book, best-selling book in 3 languages. Tell us about the book and how you came about making the book.
Yeah. So my book is called STYLE on a Shoestring. And it really kind of goes back to my roots. I'm really fortunate that, as I mentioned, my grandparents and my great-grandparents really influenced my life a lot. And my grandmother was a master sewer, and I could literally pull something out of a magazine and, give it to her and, and literally wear one of her creations by the end of the week. But when I moved to New York, I became very aware that I was in a very glamorous and fast-paced world, and I needed to present in a certain way. And my grandmother also made it very clear to me that, how I presented myself was really ultimately going to dictate what people thought of me and how I was treated. So we were always, no matter our means, we were always dressed very well, and my grandmother did everything to, make sure that we were seen in the most positive light. So I was aware that appearance was important. And then when I moved to New York and I got my education, I actually, Rich, you're going to love this. I actually studied to be a sportscaster first.
Oh, there you go.
So I always wanted to be a sportscaster. I love sports and Alabama football and all the things. So I studied to be a sportscaster, but I really struggled to get a job in sportscasting. So, my first actual kind of TV gig was QVC, in that I auditioned for them and went through their process, but kind of never made it to air. But anyway, from there, I became the beauty and style expert on a show called Starting Over. And other shows. Again, I was a part of kind of that reality makeover, phenomenon of the 2000s. And so the skills that my grandmother had taught me, and the skills that I built in New York as a young girl without a lot of money, traveling in a very, high-end world, recognizing that perceived value was extremely important. I honed a lot of skills of how to present yourself in certain ways, and how, color had implied value, and, where I wanted to invest my money, and, should I be buying, trends and things like that. So after I started, basically translating a lot of these skills into other people within the shows that I was working on, it became very clear to me that I should write a book about it. And so my book actually brings together all of these skills, and it really teaches women how to fortify themselves with their wardrobe. Because most people, and Rich, if you have someone in your life like this, you just let me know, but most of us only utilize about 20 to 30% of our wardrobe. Would that be you, Rich?
Me, definitely, yes. Yes. One pair of jeans, yeah.
So right, but I'm sure that there's probably 60 to 70% of your closet goes unused. And so what I tell people is we have to start there, because, if you've got to overcome all of that, like, kind of visual failure, right? Because all the clothes that you're not wearing represents things you can't fit into anymore, the people that you're not anymore, the money that you've wasted, all that's kind of visual failure that you've got to get through every day. So you just keep reaching for the same thing because you don't want to deal with it. So in my book, I teach you how to clean out your wardrobe. You make 4 piles. You've got to donate, a recreate, a contemplate, and a fits me great. I teach you how to build a wardrobe that is going to fortify you and make you feel empowered, and give you the confidence to, start conversations, linger longer, have eye contact, and feel great about every single thing that you pull out of your wardrobe, so that you can go and be the best person that you can possibly be.
Definitely. In my house, I have one corner of the closet, and my wife has the 3/4 of the closet. So I can definitely say she uses about 14% of hers, and I probably use about 8% of mine. So.
Yeah, so it sounds like you need style on a shoestring. But yeah, like a major closet weed, I think is important for all of us,
Definitely. And I can, every pile you said, I can see in my closet, as you were saying, that things I haven't touched in years, things I don't even know why they're in there. Well, I didn't hang them up, but they're just in there. I don't hang things up. I'm not allowed to. I don't do it right, but they get put in there, and I find out later that they're there, and that's where it's been. And I haven't seen it in 2 years because I don't look in there for it. So.
Oh well, imagine if you were to clean out your closet, and everything that you reached for, you knew what was in there, you knew that it fit you great, and you knew that it was going to, complement you in some way. That's empowering.
Yes.
Right.
Definitely be amazing.
And we have that ability. That is one facet of our life that I feel is underutilized, and that is, our wardrobe. So my book is about, building that wardrobe that's going to help you feel great, and in many ways be that ripple in the pond that can make a huge difference.
Awesome. And I put the link to your book in the chat so everyone can see that as well. So the direct Amazon link to it. I'm sure it's off your website as well, but that's the direct. It's in the chat right now. And you also you have an invention that you would have out there too. Tell us about that.
I do. So, I forgive me for my sigh, because at this point, when I'm talking to people about, some of the things that I've done, I always question whether I should, give this particular part. So, in 2009, Rich, I don't know if you did a deep dive into my bio, but in 2009, I cut off my right foot. And it was a really big accident, obviously. I certainly didn't mean to do it, but I was cliff diving.
Oh my!
I was cliff diving, and I missed the water. Ooh. That's the gist of it, right? So what happened is, while I was on the set of my television show 10 Years Younger, I I really needed a place to put my mic pack. That again is a reality television show. It was, and our shooting schedule was insane. I was mic'd up for 12 hours a day. And most of the time, for most women, they hang your transmitter on your bra. I mean, I'm sure you've done television and radio. They usually, either put it in a man's pocket, right? But if you have on a dress, where are you going to put it? They hang it on your bra. So after wearing a transmitter, a hot transmitter on your back for days and days and days, I just started to get water blisters, and it was so uncomfortable. And when I asked what alternatives there were, they gave me a leg device, but it wouldn't stay up. And the more that I moved and the more I got hot and sweaty, it would fall right down. So I actually one day began to fashion what is now the GirlyGoGarter out of, a workout shirt and some hot glue and, some cut up bras. And so I created something that would work. But again, as soon as I got hot and sweaty, it would last a little longer, but it would fall down. So, jump to, I have just literally severed my foot. I am in the hospital, the second hospital, because the first hospital said that there was no way they could put my foot back on. And so, the people that I was with at the time would not take no for an answer. So I ended up going to another hospital who worked very hard to get my foot back on. And luckily that happened. But if you can imagine, in my morphine induced haze of me just screaming at the universe and God about how this could happen and what am I supposed to do now? And what I've been a good girl my whole life. Like, I can't even believe it. I got just a very clear message that this was my pivot, that I was supposed to pivot and I was supposed to bring this, I was supposed to birth this product. And so within 2 weeks of being in the hospital, and I started to reject any pain medicines because I really wanted clarity. And I just started researching everything, how to raise money, how to build a business plan, how to get a provisional patent, who could possibly do manufacturing for me? How do I build a prototype? What is the process, the sequencing? And I actually went to Asia on crutches, determined to bring my product to life. And before COVID, we were in about 6,000 stores. We're patented the world over. And I'm happy to say that I was surrounded by some great counsel who said, of course, it's going to be a mic pack holder for television and film, but have you thought about the medical implications, or what other ways, something like this could be used? So we are the #1 product for people who are insulin pump dependent. We offer a great alternative for people who use insulin pumps. And of course, brides love it because they want a place to put their hanky and lip gloss and everything when they walk down the aisle, and you can't really lug a purse. Girls going to prom and festivals and carnivals. If you have on a dress and you ultimately need an additional place for your money, ID, lipstick, cell phone, and keys, it will carry up to 3 pounds, and it is a secure place for you to keep a small weapon, for concealed carry, or anything else that you might need.
Nice, and that fits in with a lot of our audience, the concealed carry portion. So that's good. They love that side of it. I'm not sure how many. Too. See, it's beautiful. That's a great thing, and safely concealed carry, and not just shoot your leg off.
No. I'm very proud of it. I've been used by undercover police officers. I have all kinds of women who send me photos with their small little pistols in a GirlyGoGarter.
That is awesome. And if you don't mind, where were you cliff diving?
Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts?
I say it's a cliff. Really, it's just this huge boulder. It's like a really big rock that was out in the water that created a bit of a cliff. So it's not like I was cliff diving like in Oregon or the coast, the West Coast. It's this huge boulder that I actually swam out to. I watched all of these people do it from the shore, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go do that. And my boyfriend at the time was like, that's crazy. I can't even believe they allow that. That's insane. You don't want to do that. And I was like, you don't know me very well. I do all of that. I jump out of airplanes, and I'm a bungee jumper, and I'm not going to sit here and watch people have fun. I'm going to go and have fun myself. Someone who holds up the wall. I'm not a wallflower. Well, yeah. So I swam out, climbed up, stood in line, asked everybody how to do it, and I just did it wrong. So my life changed in about 3 to 5 seconds.
Wow. Luckily, you had a good team around you at that time to make sure they didn't say no, they didn't accept no, and it got you to the right care and taken care of.
It's true. And actually, the surgeon who helped me had just come back from Iraq, where he
Oh, wow.
had done a lot of limb work and saved a lot of people's limbs. And it's interesting because the first hospital that I was taken to, the nurse literally said, "There's no one here who can do that, but I do know someone who can." And it was July 4th weekend. And it took a while for them to find him, but she was diligent. And then I was taken to my next hospital. Again, my foot was off my body a long time. We finally got him. And over July 4th weekend, he came in, and 7 surgeries later, I walk now in a way that people would never even knew anything ever happened to me. So I'm very grateful.
That's amazing. That's probably another book you can write just about that whole chapter. That could be a whole book right there, from going on the trip, going to the water to hang out and have a good time, and winding up in the situation, and then the process. That'd be a great book.
Yeah, the process was unbelievable. But I've always believed, and I even like I said, in my morphine induced haze, I remember meeting the surgeon and him coming in and me telling him, I was like, "Look, I want to live to be 100. So I'm looking to you for you to fix this so that I'm not hobbling around. So I'm looking for, another 60 years," because I was 39 at the time. So I was like, "I'm looking for another 60 something years out of this foot." And he was like, "Okay, lay back down there, lady." But I've always been determined to be okay.
That's awesome. I was 41 when I got wounded in Afghanistan, and I was told I would never run again. I got hit in my leg and in through the back of my knee, out the front of my knee. I just took that as a challenge. They did the surgery there, and I kind of pushed myself probably further than I should have at the time, because of hard headedness, and I didn't accept defeat. So I pushed myself, and I was able to run a marathon about a year later. Ran a marathon. I mean, I pay for it now, obviously, but I'm able to walk and jog now. But I didn't take no for an answer.
Good for you. And I am so proud of you for doing that. I mean, marathoning was a part of my life before my accident. I would love to do it again. There's nothing like completing a marathon. You literally feel like you could, rule the world. But I'm really proud to hear that. I think that determination is so important. I also think it's what makes us Americans. It just sets us apart.
Yeah. And I think to a person in America, if you give them a challenge, they're going to take it. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you live on, or what side of the pole you live on. You're still going to want to take that challenge and go for it. Hey, you can't do this. I bet I can, and I will do it. Or me and my team will do it and make it better than it was yesterday. So that's why I love this country.
Yeah, awesome. I love hearing that.
So we got a book, we got an invention, we got acting. What's next?
Well, I will tell you what's next. What piques my curiosity. So you should know that, I've been asked recently, like, what is my superpower? I do think that my superpower is kindness, but I also kind of think my other superpower is my curiosity. I am led by my curiosity, and I kind of follow that. And lately I have been crazy curious about modern dating, because I just feel like we are now at a tipping point where over half of Americans are single. And I just can't believe that we have all of this, at our disposal, and fewer people are coupling. And it says very clearly in the Bible that we are to experience this life through love. And so I just am so drawn to creating solutions for, single people out there. So I have created a podcast called The Dating Lab with the Hillbilly Yenta. And do you know what a Yenta is?
No.
So a Yenta is a Yiddish word. It's a Jewish word that basically means matchmaker. It comes from Fiddler on the Roof, which is a beautiful, story. It was both a play and a movie. So my husband, who is, from the Northeast, and I think he's a quarter Jewish. And my husband is the one who coined me the Hillbilly Yenta, because I am always trying to figure out, are you in love? Are you, looking? How can I help you? So I've got a few podcasts in the can, but I have to tell you, I'm not ready to launch the show just yet, because I find that what people love to do more than anything is just kind of complain about a problem and not really talk to me about solutions. Right. So I don't really want to put that out there. So when I feel like I've got 3 really, really awesome podcasts in the can, I'm going to launch with those 3, but I'm not quite there yet.
And I think it's a great subject because I think a lot of the generations coming up now, they don't do a lot of face-to-face stuff. Most of their stuff they do in life is via the phone or via an app of some sort. So not being able to actually sit down and talk to someone and look them in the eyes and talk to them, I think that's a big challenge for dating and finding that love that will last.
It is. So, Rich, I have to ask you, are you in love?
Me, yes, I've loved my wife for 30 years now.
I
30
love that.
plus.
And that's terrific. That's what I always want to hear. And then tell me about do you have kids?
Yes, I have one daughter. She's in Ireland right now. She'll be flying home tomorrow, and I get rid of her 3 dogs.
That's awesome. What's she been doing in Ireland?
She took her annual vacation, her and her husband. They've been married since 2019 and high school sweethearts, and they're doing
Oh,
great things. And they went over there and they had a blast for the last 8 days, I guess. Yeah, so 8 days. Tomorrow will be 9.
that's terrific. So it sounds like you don't have this problem in your life, which is awesome. But you brought up a really good point. So there's 2 points I want to tell you in some of my research, which I think is going to blow your mind. So I've done some real deep research. And did you know that the top 10 dating apps, and that would include Match.com and Bumble and Hinge, and the top 10 dating apps are all owned by one single hedge fund. And they've all had a huge shift in algorithm. They no longer are really about trying to help you find love as much as they are about trying to make sure you continue to pay $30 a month.
There it is.
And the other big problem is that the apps have figured out that men engage in FOMO, or the fear of missing out, far more than women do. And so the men, it's hugely skewed. There's like 70% men and only 30% women on the apps.
Wow.
So yeah. So there's a lot of things that, statistics out there that are really unbelievable. But, like you said, we're also dealing with our second generation of people who are far more comfortable in a virtual world than they are in the real world.
Yes.
And so one of the things that is a phenomenon that I just can't believe is like ghosting. So ghosting is just basically saying game over. Like,
I'm done.
Yeah, it's just an immature and, really, it has no courage. It just lacks courage way of just having the game be over. And so, these and other things are what I'm kind of investigating and figuring out, because I have 3 bonus daughters that I cherish. And, they're 22. I have twins that are 18. And I cannot believe the stories. So you talk about what's next. I am very engaged and curious about our dating world, and I'm very invested in trying to figure out solutions so that we can get people coupling again and living the life that kind of their soul intended.
Definitely. And I think that we're all destined to be with someone. It's just your hard-headedness sometimes gets in your way, or dual hard-headedness, I guess, would be a good thing. Both you have hard heads and you don't want to commit to something. But the things that we're seeing now, like you said, there's so many single people out there. I think it's a lot because they don't have social skills. And we grew up in the 70s, 80s where you had to have social skills to survive. And if you didn't, you were kind of left to the wayside. And now it's whatever. I can just text you an emoji and I'm happy to say hello to you that way and not talk to you face to face.
Yes, and it's very hard to read tonation and intention in a text and things like that. So you're absolutely right. In many ways, women have also had to become the aggressor. I mean, I've got all these statistics floating around in my head, but it's definitely it's worrisome to me. I feel like a lot of men have all of their curiosities kind of met by their phone. So it used to be that, you had to have some courage to go ask a woman out because, you kind of wanted to explore them and you wanted to figure out what it was like to be with a woman, and you were attracted to their softness and their curves and all those things. But many of those curiosities now are met with the device that you have in your hand. And so you no longer have to build the courage to ask a woman out. And women, it doesn't matter how you slice it, it is in our DNA to want to be pursued and to, want to be protected. And when women have to do the pursuing, it just sets up a very, an awkward foundation that is hard to overcome. So, again, there's so many things to this particular subject, but I am really curious and dedicated to trying to fix it. I mean, how many single friends do you have in your life?
Single friends in my life?
Yeah.
Probably about a good 25%, I guess, of my friends are single. Most of them are on their multiple marriage now. Second, third marriage, I think is the most for most of them. I'm the only one that's on the first marriage. So.
Good for you. Well, I love hearing that.
Well,
Well,
my brother,
I'm happy to hear.
26 years, I think, 26 or 28 years.
Oh, that's great. That says a lot about your parents.
They were 50 something years when my mom passed. So.
The other thing that you bring up is the high school sweetheart thing. And believe it or not, statistics prove that when you can build a life together, you ultimately will stay together. The likelihood that you will stay together is much greater. A lot of times we're looking for perfection, and it's believed that if you get, kind of 60% of your must-have list, then you can build the other 40. So, you can't be looking for Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect. You have to be looking for Mrs. or Mr. Almost Perfect, and then you build and you heal and you create a life together. You can't find someone to, if you find someone that just slips into your life, sometimes it's not exactly bound for longevity. You want to build together. So the earlier that you have those connections and the more that you build together, the more that you have ties that bind you. So that's wonderful that you have that with your wife.
And we only knew each other 5 months when we got married, and it wasn't a shotgun wedding. She wasn't pregnant. We just got married because I was in the Army and I was moving. I would have to move away if I wasn't with her. So I got married and I did move away. On our first anniversary, the Army sent me to Korea alone. And that was a great anniversary gift from the Army. But we got to know each other as we both grew up, basically. We liked hanging out with each other at first. And then like you said, you learn and you grow together. And now 30 years later, we finish each other's sentences. We know what each other are going to do before we do it. And I just hand my wallet over when I need to.
Well, and I hope that that's encouraging for the young people, because a lot of people think that they don't want to get married or couple up until they get into their 30s. And by the time you're in your 30s, you're so entrenched and kind of hard-headed that it's much harder to meld a new life with yours. So I am actually a firm believer that the 20s is still the decade to find love and make your connections.
Like we were kind of like you and your husband. I was the Yankee husband. She was the Southern girl. She was in Georgia. I was from New Jersey. So we kind of met. We met in Georgia, and everyone said, you have nothing in common. You're never going to last. You have nothing in common. And my mom knew right away I was going to marry her. She said, because I called her from home, and I never called girls back. And I called her. So she said, you're going to marry that girl. I said, no, I'm not. There's no way. And I did. So she had it stepped out right away.
I love that. I love that. She must be so proud of you. Where all have you lived?
Started in Jersey, grew up there. Then Georgia was my first duty assignment. Korea, Kentucky, Kansas, back to Alabama for 3 years, back to Korea, then back to Kentucky, and then Maryland, and back here. And then, of course, deployments to Afghanistan, Iraq.
Oh my gosh, what a big, big, amazing life. Thank you so much for all of your service. And your whole family sounds like they have been in service.
Yes, and I think she has served harder than I had. She raised our daughter. I was gone most of our daughter's formative years, and I made up for that at the end. After I got out, when she published her book, my daughter, I was the book tour dad instead of the cheer dad or soccer dad. I was the book tour dad.
How cute is that? I love it. That's awesome. Well, has she blessed you with grandchildren yet?
She doesn't want kids. So I have 3 grand dogs.
Yes, you do. Well, you tell her that Andy Paige said that the only reason to have children is grandchildren. And I have been told that by all of my grandparents my entire life. And so I'm already starting to put the pressure on my kids. I'm like, I tell them I'm literally developing a podcast to help you guys find a good man. So I am expecting grandkids out of this.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. So that's my goal. Well, hopefully, maybe she'll change her mind. Who knows?
I'm sure she will. And she's at a stage now where she's trying to develop herself and build her brand and all that. So she's doing great things. She has her second book in editing right now. Hopefully it publishes within the next year. She has her fitness stuff she does, and she loves working at a coffee shop so she can talk to more people and learn more stories. So she's a very outgoing young lady.
Oh, your pride in her is so endearing. I love seeing it. You literally light up. That's awesome.
I do anything for her. I try not to do everything for her, but I do anything for her.
And how about that guy? Do you like who she married?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He works for the sheriff's department here. He's doing great things.
Okay.
He's from here down in Clarksville, so, and he takes care of her. That's all I can ask for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's a big deal. You know, my bonus daughter. I mean, so my husband had 3 children that I was very fortunate to be a part of their lives. You know, at a very young age. And so I consider them my kids. But my 22-year-old brought her first boy home, and we were like, no. So that took like 2 years off my life. But when they bring home a less than, it's always like, so that was a real learning experience for our entire family. I think my 2 18-year-old girls will be hard pressed to bring someone home unless they're really sure.
Yes. Well, they learned the lesson now, so hopefully they watch and learn that lesson and know they need to do a little more research on the person they bring home to you.
Well, it is. I'm kind of not kidding. It is the reason why I'm like crazy about figuring out what's going on with dating. But anyway, so when my podcast is out there, I will let you know, and maybe I can have some of your single male friends come on and talk to me about their dating life.
I'll send them your way. There's not many in my age group that are single, but if I have some, I'll send them your way.
Well,
Same
I know
age group as you. So.
Well, I know that you lost your mom. Like, has your dad ever mentioned that he wants to find another love?
Not to me, no. And I'm sure my brother might chime in, but I don't think he has at all. He's happy sitting on the couch watching soap operas and going down to the local store and doing scratch offs. So.
Okay.
As long as he's able to still do that, I'm happy. He still has his wit to him. He's smart as a tack. I call him every week and we have long talks as I drive to work. I just want to make sure he's still with us and still with us mentally and physically. And he's doing great as far as I can tell.
Well, there are lots of women in his age group looking for companionship. So that's why I ask. That's another huge segment of women who, are not especially looking to be a nurse or a purse, but would love to have, someone to talk to and to relate to.
Well, I'm sure my brother knows. He knows a lot more. He lives next to him. So I don't live up there. So I don't know.
Where does he live? Maybe I can go and create a profile for him.
He's in New Jersey. He's in Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Awesome. That's a beautiful town. I love Bloomfield.
That's where all the rest of my family is. I'm the only one that's down here in Tennessee. So.
Well, I love Tennessee too. Go Vols.
Oh, I can't believe you said that with Alabama in you. I don't believe you said
I know. I even have on some orange today.
I've seen that. You got that Tennessee orange on you there. I don't wear Tennessee orange. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I'm hated.
No.
See?
Notre Dame? Oh, my Lord. Pardon me while I clutch my pearls.
There you go. There you go.
Notre Dame. Oh, my gosh. Well, they do think a lot of themselves, so much of themselves that there's really no reason to commit to, what do you call it? A conference. No,
Exactly.
not Notre Dame. We would never want to do that. One of my favorite experiences was when Notre Dame played Alabama was it the BCS? I believe it was still the BCS championship.
Yeah, it was BCS in 2012.
Yeah, a few years ago. That's right, 2012. And I was in a bar, surrounded by all these Notre Dame fans. And of course, I am, a crazy Alabama fan. And Notre Dame fans are just unlike any other fans. They have an ego, and I just don't get it. I don't know how you have this ego. Please tell me, how are you such a strong Notre Dame fan? What is it that ties you and makes you so loyal to this ridiculous group of golden-clad helmet guys?
Irish Catholic, born in the Northeast, and Rich LaMonica played for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Mad Bomber played for the Raiders. My last name's LaMonica. It's easy.
Okay, well, that explains that. I can totally see I understand your loyalty. I struggle with others, but nonetheless, that's awesome. That's terrific.
And that's why my dad's a Raiders fan too, because Daryl LaMonica played for the Raiders. He's a Raiders and Giants fan. So.
The Raiders have always had a reputation of just being one of the toughest teams, man. They are out for blood. I can remember, they right? I didn't want to say that, but kind of. So one of the things, the reason I love sports is because, of course, I grew up saying Roll Tide, and, Alabama football was such a huge part of my upbringing. And Coach Paul Bear Bryant was just in conversations in my household.
Amazing dude.
Yeah, he was in conversations that I can remember, from just being a little kid. And so in my mind, if I could have become a sportscaster, I would have been literally like a rock star to my family. Like, I don't know that it would have been bigger than for me to have been able to be on the sidelines at, the Super Bowl, or to cover, the Cotton Bowl, or, something like that. So I just loved sports. My grandfather introduced me to football and taught me football. And because I think I mentioned how tall I was such a big girl. I was put into everything. So sports was, basketball, volleyball. I even played football, Little League football, because I was the only girl in my community. But I loved all sports. I actually made Alabama All-Star in softball 2 years in a row. But I truly love sports, and I love football. And there's still a part of me that thinks, that would have been so fun if that had been my trajectories to have been in sports. But I do love it, and I get a lot of mileage out of it. Marrying a guy from New England who, all he could really talk to me about was the Patriots. I was like, you have no idea, like college football rules. And so, he took me to a Patriots game, and then I took him to Tuscaloosa. And let me just tell you, we no longer go to Patriots game, but we go to an Alabama game at least once a year.
I go to a Georgia game every year. My sister-in-law is a huge Georgia fan and season ticket holder. I'm actually going to the Georgia-Tennessee game next week. This week I'm going to Notre Dame versus Florida State up in South Bend. So every year I go to a Georgia game, and so we're kind of a Georgia family, because that's where I met my wife as well. So Georgia, Notre Dame, and she went to Kansas State, so we root for Kansas State as well.
Oh, that's so fun. I don't know. You lost me with the Kansas State, but all those other teams sound so great.
Of course.
Because they're SEC teams.
SEC, I know those.
No, it's just not about me knowing them. I mean, not for nothing. What's Kansas State ever done? God bless. I mean, I wish them all the best, and I hope that they're educating our youth. I love that. But football, come on.
They're coming.
Okay. I will watch. I will pay more attention.
All right. Andy, this has been great. We're running to the last 3 minutes here. If you can give the audience 3 tips on how to either get into acting, write a book, or maybe become a patented inventor, what would that be?
All of that? Okay.
Any of those.
Well, to become a patented inventor, if you have an idea, the first place that you start is with a provisional patent. And you can get a provisional patent. You can apply for one on any government website. The other big tip I will give you when you're talking about patents, that is patent is U.S. or national law. So you can use attorneys anywhere. You don't have to use a local attorney. You can find and shop for inexpensive attorneys to help you. So being a New Yorker, I use an attorney in Utah for all of my patent law. So that's one big tip. Provisional patent first, and that only costs, a provisional patent really only like $120. So to become an actor, I will tell you that there is an amazing website called Backstage, and backstage.com, you can literally filter through your community, and you would be shocked at what is produced in every community in the country. You can pull up by every state and be a part of lots of productions, commercials. There's all kinds of things that you can be a part of if acting is something that you've always wanted to do. And you can do it at any age, I promise you. So that would be that. Anything else that you want to do, I would just tell you that there is no reason to be a sideline, sitter. If there is anything that you want to do, all you have to do is go for it, because God would not have given you the idea if he had not created the path. So if you have the idea and you want to do it, Just do it. Life is too short. This is not a rehearsal. Get out there, live the biggest life that you can possibly live.
Outstanding. And Andy, what's the best way for the audience to get in contact with you if they want to chat with you like we are, or maybe pick your brain a little bit?
They can head to andypaige.com, ANDYPAIGE. You can find me at GirlyGoGarter.com, but I also encourage all of your listeners to head to shophomeandheart.com so that you can really see all the things that we've developed through General Hospital as well.
Awesome. I'll put that's all in the show notes. I've also put it in the comments. Andy, this has been awesome hanging out with you tonight. Thank you for sharing some of your Thursday night on the East Coast with us, and your love for the Alabama Crimson Tide and all that for us here in Tennessee, even though I'm a Notre Dame fan. Thank you for everything you're doing. And it's amazing to watch what you're doing and accomplishing.
I'm so happy to be with you. Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
Hi, my name's Heather McCarty, and today I wanted to share a little bit about what I'm thankful for with all of you. So first, I would say that I am thankful for my husband, who is my best friend. He is my biggest cheerleader, supporter. He's the one who can make me laugh and feel safe like no one else. I'm also thankful for my 2 daughters. My oldest daughter, who has the biggest heart I've ever known, the best spirit, and embodies how to just be who you are no matter what. And she's what I want to be. And my youngest daughter, who has shown more strength than I ever imagined one person could have. And I'm so thankful that she's not only taught me, but so many others, what it means to have strength can mean still struggling, but moving forward and smiling while you're doing it. I'm thankful for friends who've become family and are my chosen family now. I'm thankful for getting to do work that means so much to me. And I'm thankful to have health when I know that's not the case for everyone. What are you thankful for?
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation Show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.